Hello and welcome to the Brian Hornback Experience. This is episode 69, and we've got another candidate for Knox County office in May the 3rd primary and August the 4th general election. And the candidate we have on right now is Bob Fischer. He is a candidate for Knox County Mayor. It's a three-way county mayor Democrat primary. And Bob Fischer is one of those candidates. Bob, how are you doing tonight?
Well, I'm hanging in there. Well, the Vols won. Two in a row. Took 2 days off and had the best 2 days off I've had in a while.
We are recording this on the night of the Vols winning the SEC championship and the night of the selection show. And we got screwed in the selection, but that's beside the point.
Well, that's okay. You never know about that, though.
I mean, how did Kentucky get second and we got third?
Well, they're Kentucky.
Yeah.
we can go into predisposed voting.
I'll leave. As I posted on my Facebook earlier, I leave all the sports talk up to my buddy Tony Basilio. So we'll get off that because all I've known for 40 years is politics. So let's talk about politics. Why is Bob Fischer coming from being a spectator, commentator on the sidelines to now he's in the game as a Democrat candidate for county mayor?
Well, Brian, I retired at the 1st of December.
Man, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to retire.
Well, 44 years at UPS, they kind of show you the door.
Okay.
If you're not ready to go, your body's telling you to leave, and your family and everybody's going, you might want to think about it. So it was time to 44 years, a lot of years. Not a lot of guys make it that long.
Well, that's fantastic. That's fantastic, Bob.
Well, I appreciate that. And I wasn't really counting on getting into politics. And I have been writing, pretty much I've been a COVID activist for the last several years, since January 2020.
Right.
And as Omicron came in, and I just, I looked at everything that I'd done to prepare for retirement, and all I saw was a never-ending cycle of COVID waves and hospitals shutting down. And I'm 62 years old. The hospital shut down, and I can't get into the emergency room. That's likely going to mean I'm dead. So, it was like, and I want to live here. I've lived here since 1968. This is my home.
Right.
And I could have been one of those people that just sat around and complained, or I could get up off my keister and go try to do something about it.
And you've got a neighbor that passed away from COVID, correct?
Yeah, I'd rather stay away from that.
That's fine. I understand. I understand. I understand.
Grieving is an individual process.
It is.
And in our case, the whole neighborhood is going through this.
So what has the current county mayor, Glenn Jacobs, what is in your opinion, because once you make it out of the May 3rd Republican primary, you're going to be facing Glenn Jacobs, who's unopposed in the Republican primary. You'll be facing him on August the 4th. What has he done right or wrong? You can pick whichever side you want to be on. I think I know what side you're going to pick on. What has he done right or wrong in the whole COVID response? And what will be different if Bob Fischer is the next Knox County mayor?
Well, he hasn't done anything in the COVID response. What he has done is tried to make what is very much a local issue. And once you get to a town like ours, which is we're a medical center,
right?
The biggest medical center for 100 miles around,
right?
There are certain things you can do, and obviously, pretty early on, but the only power the mayor has is the power of the message.
Right, the bully pulpit.
Exactly.
Right.
And so, from that regard, it's just irresponsible government in a pandemic to tell everybody to spread the disease as you see fit. I mean, you owe them at least that, hey, guys, if you wear, we can cut transmission with masks and vaccines. And we need everybody that's willing to do that. And you see where you end up there, and then you go on from there. And as we had discussed earlier, the body of knowledge is growing in leaps and bounds.
Right.
And if you are into this like I am, I'm sort of a nerd when it comes to the math and science. I try to read as much as I can. But I read the last mask study I read, for instance. It was like, well, they had some incredibly small number of the volume, viral load that a mask reduced actually in the air. It's like, well, that doesn't seem like a whole lot. And then you turned around and found out what that volume, the corresponding decrease in the case numbers is. It's like, wow, that's a lot, When you have a very little response, and we knew this from back in the Board of Health days, when they did their mask mandate and, all that. I wasn't a big fan of Dr. O'Brien at first because I didn't think he was doing anything that would actually affect, have that large an effect on the spread of COVID. That turned out to be wrong. I track these numbers every day, and what they did basically in the first wave was kept the hospitals open.
Right.
It could have been, we were really, I don't think, people that don't follow this very closely don't understand how close we came 3 different times to just shutting down our medical community. I mean, you can't, if people start dying from stuff like gallstones when they can't get to hospitals. And that, first and foremost, ultimately, if you don't have some sort of stability in your medical community, the town starts going down. I mean, our death rate, we have 3 times the amount of deaths of Cuba. I mean, for God's sakes, Cuba is better than Knoxville.
Wow.
And you can pull up these stats worldwide, and it's not just Cuba. It's like we're not doing better than anybody because we're not doing anything.
Right. Well, at the last county commission meeting, you stood up amongst a whole bunch of folks that disagreed with you, and you had your 5 minutes. Well, 3. I think they've cut it to 3 minutes to say. So kind of talk about what happened there. Obviously, we know that a lot of the anti-maskers, anti-vaxxers were wanting a new attorney for the school board, and they had kind of filled the small assembly room because the commission had been moved to the small assembly room versus the large assembly room. And you were, 15th. I watch, as the Brian Hornback Experience listeners and viewers know, I watch everything off the internet from right here in my compound. But kind of talk about, you were 15th or 20th on the list, but kind of talk about that experience and how you were reacted to by those in the audience.
Well, it was kind of funny because as I was driving down there, it's like, man, I can't believe I'm actually on the same side as the anti-maskers and the anti-vaxxers.
Yeah.
Because essentially by that time, I'd just given up. And it was like, this is where we're at. We're going to get about, 62, maybe 65% vaxxed. We'll have our segment that is going to be very careful with masking, but pretty much it's over. The war is lost.